Welcome back to the shop. Since we were here last, we have added the inlay extension onto the soundboard, and as you can see, it ties in very nicely with the existing one on the fretboard. And the process of putting the inlay on the soundboard is just a little bit more delicate, so I have to use a very fine tip bit on the router and push it in. And then the other thing that I've done is we finished off the 30A logo on the back on the piece of turquoise, and that process of inlaying it is pretty simple because it's just a solid piece of turquoise inlaid. But then all of the letters that are on it are scribed in by hand with what's called a scratch-all. And you have to carve all that out, and then it's filled in with epoxy that has paint mixed into it. So that's where you get the color from. And really happy with how that came out. So now that the inlays are in on the instrument, one of the last structural things that we have to do is to install frets. You may have noticed that I've gone ahead and put some of the frets in here over the inlay. That process is a lot more complicated, and I just kind of wanted to get it knocked out in advance. So all we have left is to put in about, I think, 11 frets here. We've just installed all the frets on the ukulele. This is what's called a bound fretboard, so it's wrapped in this piece of maple, and the process of doing that is a little bit different. So what we need to do now is we're going to snip off the ends of these frets that are sitting proud of the fretboard, and then I'm going to put a bevel on them using this tool here so that it's very comfortable on the hand. The next process is going to be getting this instrument prepared to do the lacquer spraying, and you can see it really did come out super nice. All of the colors of the wood are really going to start to pop once we put the lacquer on this instrument. It's going to be about a 1-week process of spraying the instrument with nitrocellulose lacquer. I do roughly 12 to 15 coats, but the really neat thing about lacquer is that it's not really 12 coats, each coat burns into the next coat, so it's really just one coat of lacquer on the instrument. And then it has to dry for 2 weeks, and then I will wet sand the whole instrument down to about 20,000 grit sandpaper, and we'll buff it out. Okay, as you saw just a few seconds ago, we have sprayed all of the lacquer coats on the ukulele, and we got about 12 to 15 on here over the course of about a week. We do 3 coats a day, so you're going to see me spray this with a little bit of soapy water and hit it all the way up to about 3,000 grit sandpaper, and then we're going to put it on the buffing machine and buff it out to a mere shine. Now that we've buffed the ukulele out, it's got this beautiful shine on it, so it's time to glue the neck onto the instrument. We've just finished all of the construction on the ukulele, and it's finally time to put the strings on it. So that's what we're going to do now. So now that the ukulele is all finished and we've got the strings on it, the only thing that's left to do is really let this instrument settle. There's a lot of string tension being put on here. These are also brand new strings and brand new wood. So the top is going to flex a little bit and these strings are going to loosen up. I'm also going to be able to lower the action up here at the nut and the saddle to get it to play as best as possible. But I got to let it sit for a couple hours so that everything can kind of get into its new home position before we do that. But besides that, it's all ready for delivery.
sing a lullaby.